I'm Pat Johnston, award-winning broadcaster and now podcaster for Left of Lansing with this week's edition of I Told You So. I just wanted to take the next 3 minutes or so doing something I normally don't do, but I think it needs to be done, and that's me telling you I was right. Ever since that disastrous debate for President Joe Biden, I said that he should immediately step down. I was saying that the day after. In fact, I got on social media that night and said it's time for Joe to step down. His poll numbers were struggling against dear leader Trump before that debate, and those numbers started collapsing even more in many important swing state polls. In fact, on the day that Biden released a statement that he was going to step aside, he was losing by 7 points in the latest Epic MRA poll in Michigan. And this is a poll that correctly called Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer's victory margin in 2022, and it was close on the 3 ballot initiative numbers that year as well, including the proposal to enshrine abortion rights in the state's constitution. However, while that same polling firm predicted Biden would defeat Trump back in 2020 in Michigan, the vote turned out to be much closer than predicted, proving that even a reliable polling firm like Epic MRA underestimated Trump's numbers in Michigan. And I have to tell you, I was freaking out on that Sunday morning, just about over a week ago, when those numbers came out, and I got right on social media and said, Joe Biden is losing by 7 percentage points in Michigan. Epic MRA is saying it. And again, they underestimated Trump's numbers in 2020. So now we are facing a 5-alarm fire. Thankfully, Biden stepped aside hours later and threw his support to VP Kamala Harris. And immediately, the groundswell of energy and excitement rippled through the party and across the country. And here in Michigan, the latest WDIV-TV Detroit News poll shows that Harris is now running even with Trump. And she hasn't really gotten her campaign off and running yet, all right? So she's already running even with Trump. But as Malachi Barrett from Bridge Detroit wrote this week, the excitement for Kamala Harris is palpable at a local level across the state, especially in the Detroit area. Democratic State Senator Stephanie Young from Detroit says that Biden's decision to leave the race and endorse Kamala Harris has been like a shot in the arm to the entire race. The number of volunteers doubled in just 3 days in the state. And Senator Young said Harris can now hit the ground campaigning with voters in ways the 81-year-old Biden could not. Oh, and also in that poll, Harris holds a significant lead with black voters in Michigan, while Trump garnered 0% support from black voters in Michigan. 0. Okay, now I find that number to be somewhat incredulous, of course, but it does show that Harris has strength and excitement on her side with voters who really weren't all that enthusiastic about old Joe. All said, this is what I was trying to tell you ever since that debate. At the very, very least, with Biden stepping aside and endorsing the vice president, the excitement gap between Democrats and Republicans would vanish in a heartbeat. I said that would happen, and has it ever? Now we're witnessing better polling numbers for Harris, and the enthusiastic gap is all but disappeared. Forbes is reporting today that Democrats are far more enthusiastic about Harris than they were about Biden. The Times Siena survey found with nearly 80% of voters who lean Democrat saying they would like Harris to be the nominee, compared to just 48% of Democrats who said the same about Biden 3 weeks ago. Now, during those 3 weeks after the debate, Democrats and progressives battled back and forth with each other, and that's fine. It's fine. That's what makes us not a cult, unlike MAGA, who just refuses to ever criticize dear leader. But the sad part for many of us who just read the polling, who knew it was Democratic voters, not just big money donors or the corporate press, it was Democratic voters who were sounding the alarms that Biden had to drop out of the race. We were the ones criticized, derided, and belittled for sharing that pretty sane opinion, being called the bedwetting brigade and told to get on board or get the F out. We were told Biden dropping out would be catastrophic to the Democratic Party. Oh, it would be 1968 all over again. What are you doing, Pat? I mean, that it's also impossible to have a new ticket on the ballot because of ballot printing or something like that. And now, seeing these same people who criticized me and others quickly just jump aboard the Harris train and enthusiastically celebrate the fast-changing poll numbers, well, I have to tell you, it does make me feel both vindicated but a little bitter, I have to admit, that many of them just refused to acknowledge how truly wrong they were. They wanted us to put our heads in the sand and say everything will be all right. Will you just shut up and support Biden? But now, hey, they're on our side again, and I'll take that. I just wish, though, they tell us what we always knew, that we were always right. leftoflansing@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Subscribe to the podcast and also subscribe to Left of Lansing on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, the Gram, and Facebook. Take the battle to them.